Welcome to the Health Coach Nation podcast. My name is Hailey Rowe, and I'm a sales and marketing coach and LinkedIn lead generation service provider. I work with health, life, and mindset coaches and online service-based business owners to help them get more sales, shift their time to the client-generating activities instead of just the busy work, and overcome that social media overwhelm. Let's get into the show. If you're ready to take on your next paying clients, I have good news. My free 4 Basics of Client Attraction and How to Stand Out class is live at haileyrowe.com/client-attraction. In the class, you're going to learn the top 2 traits I recommend for most coaches and entrepreneurs if they really want to turn this into a career. You're going to learn how you can build demand for your services and stop getting crickets on your posts. You're going to learn the sales roadmap I used to improve my sales conversion rate and help my clients do the same. And you're going to learn so much more. So go to haileyrowe.com/client-attraction and get your copy of the class today. Hey, I am live today with Teri Clanton. Is that how you say your last name, Teri? Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming here today. We're going to be talking about 7 key strategy components you need to have in your business if you want to grow. And this is for all of you who feel like you need systems, you need to be more strategic, you want to be less hustly. So Teri, why don't you share how the heck did you even get into strategic planning and making systems and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I'm a certified director of operations and I have over 20 years of administrative experience and just wanted to up level and, keep growing in my career. And so I did the certification program and learned about strategic mapping, strategic planning, which I had done it in the corporate environment some too. So yeah, I just really like helping the health and wellness industry, grow their businesses and help more people.
Amazing. All right. And so what actually is strategic planning? Because I hear a lot of times people say, "Oh, I feel like I need a business plan or I need a strategy." And I think sometimes people don't even know what that truly means or what that needs to look like. So what is that?
Yeah. So if you don't have a corporate background, or maybe even if you do, but you never participated in strategic planning, actually, the Cambridge Dictionary definition is just when a company, their executives decide that they want to achieve a particular goal or set of goals and the best actions to use and the resources to use to achieve those goals.
All right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
it can be, there are a lot of different ways to do strategic planning, but I prefer the strategic mapping way of doing it. And it's not just setting goals, at least with the way that I do it. We're also digging into your business foundations and making sure that you're setting realistic goals. You know where you are currently so that you can set goals for the future that are actually achievable.
Okay. So let's take an example maybe of what is a good strategy plan, what's a bad one, what would be maybe something a health coach could, let's use that as an example.
Yeah. So sometimes, there are a few hangups, if you will, to strategic planning. Some people will write down 3 to 5 goals for the year, and they don't either think that they need a detailed plan or they think that that is good enough. When actually it doesn't get specific enough, it doesn't give them an action plan to achieve those goals. So you could get busy doing other things, and you could not work towards those goals because you don't have the plan laid out to make it happen.
Yeah. Okay. So we need to have a plan. So what would be some of those components that need to go into our plan and our strategy?
Yeah. So there are what I call 7 strategic objectives, and they are simply the areas of your business that you need to be paying attention to so that you can really understand where the business is at now. And like I mentioned, so that then you can set those goals for the future that are realistic and achievable, because nobody wants to spend the time doing this and set themselves up for failure. That's not what we're here for. So let's do it in a way that is going to make sense for you and your business. So if it's okay, we can dive into those now.
Yeah, I want to know all 7.
Okay. Well, everybody, if you would grab something to take notes with, we're going to do a little mini exercise to walk you through these. So give you a second here just to grab something to take notes with. And please, if you have comments or questions throughout this, please leave them in the chat. And I don't have Facebook up right now, but we will take a look at those.
I'll be able
Hailey
to
will.
read them if we need to. And the other thing is, if you're listening to the replay and you want to reach out to Teri or post in our Facebook group, the Marketing Hub, kind of your report on doing this, we would love to see it.
Yes, absolutely. So the first one is financial steadiness. And what that means is it is a review of your financial and legal health of your business, because your business's legal situation and even your entity type, LLC, sole proprietor, whatever you are, that can affect your finances. So here's the first question. We're just going to go through a couple questions per strategic objectives, and I want you to write these down. Now, if you don't know the answer, that's okay. Just write down the question, and then you can go look up the answer later. So the first question is, how much revenue did the business earn last year? Or you could even do year to date this year if you would like. So how much revenue did you earn in the last 12 months? And then the second question is, what is your profit margin? Because if you're making less than about 20% profit margin, you may want to consider raising your rates or reducing your expenses, or both. So it's important to know what that number is. What is your profit margin? And then the third one is, does the business have any debt? And if so, how much? If there is some debt, the tendency can be to like, I don't want to know what that number is. I don't, it's a weighty feeling to have that. So it's good to know how much it is. And then also, if you're in the early stages of your business, chances are you are funding the business yourself. So it would be a good idea to also look at if you have any personal debt and how much that is, because that's going to affect how quickly you can grow the business. So that is financial steadiness. Our second objective is visibility or marketing.
Wait, actually, real quick, I'm going to jump in. On profit margin, that is your income minus your expenses, just for anybody who doesn't know, right? Yes. Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Your revenue, and then how much your expenses are. You want to do that math.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Cool. Okay. And one little side tip about that is, once you know what your profit is, you can even take your hours you work in a week and divide your profit by the hours of work. So you know your profit per hour. And if you're looking to outsource, then maybe somebody you're going to hire, that's kind of a gauge for you to know how much your time is actually worth. So you can see, should I outsource this or not? Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And also, if your profit margin is really small, and 20% is an okay benchmark. I mean, 30%, in my opinion, is a little bit better. Obviously, more is generally better, but that's something to work towards. But the reason being too is that, if, to Hailey's point, if you are going to outsource, then obviously the revenue's got to be there in order to support that. You don't want to get into an awkward situation and like look at your bank balance basically, and think, okay, yeah, I can afford to hire somebody. And by the way, that's called like bank balance accounting. It's not the ideal way to run your finances, but if you do that, and then you perhaps when a tech tool or several of your tech tools renew and the price goes up and you didn't know that, then your expenses are higher, and then you could be in a situation where you can't afford to pay that person for very long. And so it's kind of an awkward situation to be in, and not something that's going to help the longevity of your business.
Yeah. And I think the other thing to note too is, when you're a startup, there is a time when you're going to put in more than you're making. Like when you start with Facebook ads, or when you start investing in a program or get your educational degree to do coaching, like your certification, you're obviously putting money up front, but it's for a future. Okay, now I have a certification, so I can have this job. Like I can coach people on their body, right? Long term. Or I'm investing in a business coach. Now I have the sales and marketing skills to actually make it back. Or I have ads and I've done testing the first month, and now I put in this much and I get this much out. Now, some things have longer turn periods, like periods of time you need to test or put money in before you get something out. So when you're doing this planning that Teri's talking about, you want to be thinking about, how can I make room for that? How can I be able to invest in that, knowing that, it's going to take a little time, but on the back end, there's going to be bigger opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that was our first one, financial steadiness. So your revenue, your profit margin, and is there any debt? Your second key objective is visibility or marketing. So this is simply how prospects find you and their perception of your business. So the first question is, are your marketing efforts working like you want? And as a little bit of an aside, if it's not working like you want, I would jot down what you feel like isn't working, because then you can address those. So are your marketing efforts working like you want? And the second question is, if you have an email list, what is your open rate and your click-through rate? You can go into your email system and look those stats up. Some of them have a dashboard that make it really simple for you to find that information. Or you probably could go into the help articles and find out where exactly is that information located.
And just to jump in there, the average open rate, as far as I've seen lately, and it could always change, but is like 18%. Above that is great. And then click through, I believe 1% or above, depending on what you offer, but that is a good one to shoot for.
Awesome. Very helpful tips. So that is our visibility or marketing section. So number 3 is the products and services. So assessing your current products and services, as well as doing some market or competitor research, can help you see opportunities for growth and innovation. So this is where you get to dream big. So the first question is, when is the last time you had a price increase? If it's been 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, then chances are it's probably time for a price increase. Now, of course, this is not a blanket statement. Everyone's situation is different, but it would be something to look at and consider, because we've gone through and are in an inflation time period where everything is costing more. So how long has it been since you've had a price increase? Now, the second question is to do some competitor research. Write down like 3 to 5 competitors. Try to pick ones that are at about the same stage of business as you are. And look at what are they offering for their services and how much are they charging. Now, the caveat to this is you don't want to put too much weight into this, okay? Or put too much importance on this. But it is something to do and be aware of, because your education, your life experience, your financial needs are all going to be very unique and different than the next person. So don't feel pressured to offer the exact same services at the exact same prices as everybody else, or even undercut their prices. You don't have to do that. But if you are charging a lot less than the going rate, then it might be time to consider a price increase. If you're charging a lot more, then you need to be clearly communicating the differentiator in your service compared to your competitors. You need to be communicating that in your marketing. So that's really the purpose behind doing that market research, because when a prospect is looking at working with you, they're going to be looking at some of your competitors and you, looking at what everyone is offering and the price, and deciding what the right person is to work with for them. So that's why it's important to be doing this.
Awesome.
All right, number 4 is operational efficiencies. And that sounds a little fancy, but all it is the processes, systems, standard operating procedures, or SOPs for short, and automations. So this is kind of the boring back end work of a business that oftentimes may not get done. So when it's done well, it can actually create ease for you and or your team, if you have one, as well as provide a strong foundation for you to scale your business. So the first question to answer is, what feels broken or clunky in your business? So some examples for you. Maybe your client onboarding and offboarding process feels a little clunky or like it takes too much time. Maybe there's something that is very time intensive or a very manual process. There's a lot of steps to complete that you have to do on your own, basically. So that would be something that you would want to look into. How can we automate this? How can we make this process smoother and faster? Because obviously, if you're not spending time on those things, then you can be spending that time elsewhere. Income generating activities, serving your clients, making a bigger impact. So, what feels broken or clunky in your business? Next is, do you have documented processes that will help someone fill in for you in the case of an emergency, or if you have a team, in the case that someone quits? Because that will greatly reduce your training time if you do have a team when someone else is hired and steps into that role. And in the case of an emergency, then hopefully you've got somebody that could step in, look at that process and continue providing services, or at least communicate with your clients. Hey, this is going on. We're going to have a 2-week break here while someone heals up, or whatever the case may be, so that then you can go back to business as usual. All right. Any questions? I just want to pause for a moment and see if there's any comments or any questions on these. And if you want to share what some of your answers are, that would be awesome. I know some of this may be confidential and you don't want to disclose it, and that's totally understandable as well.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. I love how it's zooming out of your business and helping you work on the vision of your business rather than in your business, as they say. Like, you want to work on your business, not in your business. So this pillar that you just went over, the operational efficiencies, is probably the biggest one right now, where I'm listening here and I'm like, ooh, yeah, so many opportunities for improvement, because I've been lately really focused on this pillar in particular, like building out my systems, documenting things that I do on a regular basis. And this one is a challenging one, because you have to really learn how to teach people and train people to think like you, or put things in frameworks, or put things in something that is very easy to understand and very steppable. And so obviously my friend is Zoom, where I record myself doing tasks a lot, and also, transcribing it to then put it together, the steps. But would you say there's anything that has helped you be able to help other entrepreneurs, like, better train their teams, or simplify kind of making processes or systems?
Yeah, I like recording the work as you do it, or as your team member does it. There are going to be some instances in which, you have a particular way that you do it, and that needs to be replicated, or perhaps somebody else just didn't think about doing it that way. Maybe there's a few less clicks that they can make and achieve the same thing. So that's where it can be really educational and also really beneficial to save time. Because really, if you have a team and you're documenting your processes, someone quits, you hire somebody else, then there's a lot of time and money involved in that whole hiring process and training. And so whatever you can do to reduce that is really great. Now, obviously, you don't want to just hand someone like a whole Google folder and say, have fun, go watch these videos, I'll check in with you in a week. That's not really a great team onboarding process, but it can reduce the kind of one-on-one hands-on time that you have to spend with them. You can, say, okay, today let's go over this particular topic. You can watch these videos. I'm going to check in with you in a few hours and see how things are going and what questions you have, So yeah, that's my favorite way, is just to record as you're doing the work.
Okay. And my favorite question you've asked so far, that feels so like such a good one to reflect on, is what feels broken or clunky in your business? Just the word clunky, I'm like, oh yeah, some things come to mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to recap, Teri, before you go into the next one, let's just say the top 4 so far. So we've done financial steadiness, visibility marketing. What were the other ones?
Products and services was the third one. And then the fourth one was operational efficiencies.
All right. I'm taking notes too as we go. All right, cool.
Awesome.
Back to you.
All right. Number 5 is team growth. Okay. If you're a solopreneur, you don't have a team, just hang in there with me for a minute. Okay. Because you may want to hire in the near future. So team growth focuses on how to best utilize another person's skills or strengths to help you manage and grow your business. Pretty self-explanatory. Now, the thing is, this can include employees, contractors, and vendors for just a one-time project or even ongoing retainer work. It really does take a village to set up and grow a business. You can do it on your own for a while, and that's fine. But at some point, you're going to need to outsource some stuff. So the first question is, from 0% to 100%, how maxed out are you and or your team members in terms of time to take on new projects and tasks? Because as you set goals for the future, if you have these really lofty goals, but you don't have anywhere near enough time to do them, then that's a way to self-sabotage, basically, or set yourself up for failure. And we don't want that. So we want to take into account what is currently on your plate, in your team's plate, and how much capacity do you have to take on new initiatives. Okay. The second question is, what's your ideal team or company culture? Now, if you're a solopreneur, you may think, I don't have a company culture, but you do. It shows up through your personality and your values. That's generally what it's based on. And your culture will show up in your client experience, your marketing style, who you hire, how you hire, and so on. So what do you want your ideal culture to look like? Because even if you don't have a team right now, if you hire, you want to do so in a way that builds that culture that you want to work in every day, or as often as you do choose to work. All right, number 6 is the client experience. So this is how a client interacts with you from the beginning of their time working with you until you offboard them, as well as the quality of that interaction. So the first question to answer is, do you get a lot of the same questions over and over from new clients? If so, there is an opportunity to improve your onboarding process or even your communication with new clients. The next question to answer is, do you ask every single client for a testimonial? And do you follow up if you don't hear back from them? Because those testimonials are gold. You want to increase your revenue, you'll need testimonials to do that. People need to see that they can get the transformation that other people have gotten and that you promise that, or you know you can help clients achieve. Okay, so our last one is personal growth. Why would this be included in your business? Because you may have heard the sentiment that being an entrepreneur is one of the biggest personal growth journeys that you will ever go on. And it is very true. You really cannot separate your personal growth and your business. They just go hand in hand. So, what are you doing to continue growing personally? That's the question to answer. Just to give you some ideas to kind of jog your thought process. Perhaps you're intentionally spending time around other people that make you a better person. Maybe you're setting and sticking to your boundaries, volunteering, listening to podcasts. Hailey has one. Maybe you're listening to it right now. Reading books, going to seminars and conferences, working with a coach in business, life, mindset, finances, etc. Maybe you're going to therapy. I think that's an important one too, that maybe doesn't get talked about as much, a little bit more so now, but definitely not in the past. Are you pursuing your hobbies? So those are just a few. What are you doing to keep on growing?
Love it. Amazing. Yeah, and actually one thing I want to highlight back in the client experience section is when you said that, do you ask for testimonials? One thing you can do if you guys are like, well, no, I haven't been doing that. You can incorporate in your email funnel, if you have one for clients, something that asks and reminds. One of the things I give my clients is like a collecting social proof document guide. That's kind of like, here's the questions to ask. Here's, how you can formulate it or send it. And that can be really good to just install in your systems. Like as Teri was talking about automating, that can be good. There's other things you can do too, but the other thing you said is, do you get the same questions and concerns? And if any of you are looking to create a course or something that's more that has a component of live coaching and support materials, it's always a good idea if you get the same questions to create a guide on it or have a checklist that helps somebody when they get to that certain stage where they have a challenge or a setback or something like that. So listen to your clients and start to take in that feedback like Teri's talking about. And if you are looking to really develop a course, like how you teach people, I actually have 2 clients who teach people how to teach people better with like different brain types and learning styles and stuff like that. So if anybody's curious about them, I can introduce you to them. They're amazing. But
Awesome.
okay, back to personal growth. So you said we have to continue growing personally. What's a personal thing you had to grow on in your business?
So, one, working on how do I view myself, my, self-esteem, self-worth, whatever you want to call it. Therapy. I'm always learning, listening to podcasts, going to conferences, some more probably online, but, I completed my certification program for being a director of operations. There are a lot of ways that I've invested in myself in order to just be a better human and also, serve clients better too. Yeah.
Love it. Amazing.
So I would encourage you to take put a calendar appointment maybe next week to spend some time answering any of these questions that you couldn't answer right now. Go look up the answers, go find the data. And if you need help with that, then put it in the comments and I will try to keep an eye out and see, what we can do to help you. If you're working with Hailey, then I'm sure in one of your sessions, that would be something that you could discuss as well.
Yeah.
So
Now, Teri, you have a whole process you do with this that goes a lot deeper. So I think it's called, what do you call it? Strategic mapping?
yes,
So
yes.
tell us a little more about that and how that works.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different than strategic planning. Like I said before, there are a lot of ways to do strategic planning, but we do more than just cover a few goals that you want to set for the year. So we define what your company's mission, vision, values, boundaries that you'll use with clients, and what your culture is. Because I call those your business's DNA because they really are the foundation and heartbeat behind everything that you do. So it's really important if you've never done that to write those down, draft those statements, or if you have written them maybe 5 years ago or more a long time ago, then I can help you look at them, revise them if they're not applicable anymore, and get them up to date. Then we do a deep dive, similar to what we've done here today, but we go much deeper on where your business is currently using those 7 strategic objectives. Because again, if you know where your business is now, then you can set some realistic, achievable goals for the future. And then also based on those foundational statements and where the business is currently, you get to dream about where you want to take the business from here. So we'll discuss what your priorities are, what your goals are, and then I take all of that information and I write out a detailed project list for you. So, and put it into a quarterly buckets, if you will, because that way you don't have to look at your calendar or wonder, what am I supposed to be working on today? Because you can go to your strategic mapping tool and you'll know, okay, here's the top priority of the project at the top of the list. I'm going to be working on this. And then I put everything into Trello, your foundational statements, those answers to all of those questions in the 7 strategic objectives, your quarterly project list. All of that goes into Trello, which is an easy to use project management tool that you can use throughout the year to set due dates, to assign tasks, and even track the progress of those projects. So that's how strategic mapping is different than kind of the traditional method, if you will.
Yeah, I love it. I love the detail orientation there. So everybody loves also knowing, having direction, having a big picture and then a little picture of what they need to focus on right now. So how can people stay connected with you, Teri? And is there anything else you want to share with us as some final words of wisdom or things that you want people to know?
Yeah, for Hailey's audience, I have an introductory offer for you. you'll get over 50% off of strategic mapping through Friday, November 10th. So the way that it works is we schedule 4 online sessions for 90 minutes each over about a 2-week period. And it includes all of the things that we discussed, and it is $945 with the discount through November 10th. So a lot of my competitors are charging up to $5,000 for the same service. So,
Wow.
and my normal price is $1897. So just offering it, as a way to help out, and also, to honestly get some testimonials. So we talked about that earlier, because that is important as well. So you can go to my website, wellnessbusinessservices.com, and you can schedule a free call if you've got any questions or if you're ready to get started. And then also on my website, if you'll scroll to the bottom and sign up for the email list, I've got a free gift for you guys. I will send you the Countdown to Success, your year-end business checklist. So this will just help you end your year well. It'll give you some things to do that you may have not have thought of so that you can start 2024 well.
Amazing. That's a great offer. Thank you so much for bringing that, Teri, and it's very exciting. I really appreciate you for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was good to connect with you all.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this podcast. And if it's really helpful for you, I'd really appreciate if you share it and or leave a written podcast review. This tells the podcast sites that our show is useful and it will be promoted to more people that way. Thanks again.